Chudamani, Eshi Shama Shandara Shikara Shikara, Smirahasani Manavara, Radikara Sikama Pipanari, Supriya Charana Kinkari Guru. Tavai Vasmi, Najivami Tayavina, Itiri Gyanavito, Nayamam Charantikam, Yata Kim Kreshu Bausa Kalukakamani. Nityapara Shukra Shashakandamani Tashikadara Sindhi Subhamujas Tatkeli Kunjabavanangadama Vishama Vajami Yadhara Ravinda Netram Smarami Yadha Madhura Smrikasham Vadhami Yadha Karuna Varajam Tato Mushti Gati Nagapi Pakita Vahino Yaparada Shai Chittaschakamaritarangamajye Kripamaikam Sharanam Prapanam Rinde Namaste Charanarvindam Kanakajaladagatro Nilasobhagya Netro Nigumarvarabaro Marati Kundavaro Taruna Vesho Nilapitambaresho Smarani Vrittini Kunje Radhika Krishna Chandro Vanchakalpatrubhischa Kripaschandu Vahevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dandavat Pranam devotees. I'm happy to have opportunity to come over to the temple. Normally from all of the, first of all, Kartik Mass for everybody is their own personal absorption. So between that and then coming back from traveling and then trying to get resituated and everything, so I haven't had a chance to come over. And then trying to work on some projects to get done before the new year and so forth, so just a lot going on. Then the traveling was 6,497 miles. Wow. So, but still it was very much worthwhile everywhere, and the devotees were very kind and very sweet everywhere, and Gurudev was extremely merciful to allow me to remember his Harikatha and Harikatha Guru Bhagas. So, but this is the end of Kartik Mass and the end of Chatur Mass. So Kartik Mass, of course, is very special. Gurudev tells every year it's called also Urjavrat, means it's the month of Urjeshri, Shrimati Radharani. So many amazing pastimes take place during this month, from the Sarad Raslila to Hemant Raslila, right, the holy festival at Gantoli, which is why we say Radha Damodar, because at Gantoli, it's about 4 kilometers from Govardhan, is where Krishna sat and his upper cloth was tied to the upper cloth of Radhika, and therefore Radha Damodar. And of course, during this entire month, we sing the Damodarastakam of Satyavrata Muni, very deep prayer. I think one of the Sunday Zoom classes, was it a Sunday Zoom class? Zoom. Did I go to Damodarastakam?
Yeah.
So we went through the deeper meanings of Damodarastakam in one of those classes, because very, very deep prayer of Satyavrata Muni, and why it's very much important for us is because Satyavrata Muni's realizations go from Dasya Ras all the way to Radha Dasya. So in the Damodarastakam, if you're following with attention, then you could follow the track of his evolution from Dasya Rasa all the way to Radha Dasya. And then I told the backstory of Satyavrata Muni. He was a son of a king. Some people say son of a Brahmin named Devdutt. His name was Uttaya. But by the curse of one Rishi named Gavila Rishi, when he was born, he was kind of not very intelligent, not very useful. He could not learn the royal arts or anything like that, but neither, when he was sent back to Gavila Rishi, could he really learn the spiritual arts like a Brahmin. So because he was kind of useless, the family banished him. And he went to live among the forest dwellers. And while living among the forest dwellers, he developed a habit of never telling a lie. And because he never told a lie, this name Satyavrat came to him. So one particular pastime, a boar once was wounded by a hunter, and that boar ran to the village hut where he was staying and took shelter. So Satyavrat Muni, during the time that he was staying among the forest dwellers, he developed many good habits. He was not super intelligent or anything, but he never told lies, and he was very honest, and he was very honored among the village dwellers. And once when this boar ran into his ashram, he took some pity on the boar, and the hunter was chasing the boar, came to him and asked him, have you seen this boar? I've already wounded him, so I'm just trying to capture him to take him for my prize. So because Satyavrat Muni had gazed into the eyes of that boar and had taken compassion, he was bewildered, but at the same time he couldn't tell a lie. So he was thinking what to do, and while he was thinking, he started going, and while he was thinking like this, the hunter was saying, what does that mean? So then it came in his heart that he told, for those who say they have seen, they don't know. And those who know, they cannot say they've seen. So the hunter was completely bewildered, like, what are you talking about? What are you smoking? Anyway. But anyway, long story short, the hunter left him and ran away, and that boar was saved. But it came in the darshan of Satyavrat that actually this ayn was the Gyan Bij. And this invoked Saraswati Devi. And so Saraswati Devi gave him the intelligence that in this metaphor, those who say they've seen, they don't know. Because most people are looking out at the external world and material energy, and they describe things according to that. So those who say they've seen something through their external eyes, they really don't know, because they don't know the soul. And those who know the soul, they don't see, because they don't see any external things in the material world. They only see according to the nature of the soul. So that inspirational slope that came into his heart and mind prompted him to go deeper and deeper, and he began to meditate, and he became known as a great sage. When he became known as a great sage, then he got back to the kingdom, that he was such a learned scholar, great sage, that his father brought him back, and he became very honored. He eventually became the king there, and from there, in our Bhagavad Purana, it picks up the story of his going to do his daily sanja and finding the fish in the river, and everybody knows the story from there. This backstory is told in Devi's Bhagavad and also in Skanda Purana, I believe, like this. So this Kartik Mass is very, very auspicious, and today is also the incarnation of pizza and eggplant and so forth and so on. So,
you said the incarnation of pizza.
Pizza and eggplant and so forth and so on.
Incarnation of pizza and eggplant.
Incarnation of all the time.
So anyway, but of course we've not been meditating on those things for the whole Kartik. Understand? We've been absorbed and I'm thinking about all these things. But still, I wrote to Vishaka Didi and I told her, I told that I thought it would be very good, like in our Braj, in our Braj actually, the Brijabasis, they would gather on times like this and they would sit and have Ishta Goshti. And they would discuss many things that were going on in their ghost means in the town of Vrindavan, in their village where they were staying. And of course in Gopal Champu, then they would also hear the Harikata, Madhukant and Snigdhakant, who, of course, this question came up the other day, that as Madhukant and Snigdhakant eternal personalities in Braj. According to what I've read and understand, yes, they're eternal personalities, and Mani Griva and Nalakuvara became Parika Sayuj to that Madhukant and Snigdhakant. Parika Sayuj means they merged to the bodies of Madhukant and Snigdhakant. Understand? This Parika Sayuj is also there in Golila. Like in the case of Visakha, is also Arjun is also present there in Visakha Saki. Also Haridas Thakur, Prahlad Maharaj, Brahma, they're also in one form. So it was from Pujapat Tirtha Maharaj, Pujapat Tirtha Maharaj, he explained this to me. I think he was staying in my house that time, also that, yeah, so many years ago. He was talking about this Parika Sayuj and how it works. Sometimes there are genuine expansions from a Nitya Parikar. like in the case of Narada Muni is the son of a maidservant. Nitya Nard is not that person. It's an expansion of that Nitya Siddha Nard who becomes the son of a maidservant. Similarly, the son of Vasu Sharma, who was associated with the prostitute and then went to the Nrsimha temple, so forth, that is expansion of Nitya Siddha Prahalad. This is mentioned by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur one tika. Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam. So like that. But the point is, I thought it was a good time that devotees can have questions and answers and discussions, especially Chittananda Baba's here, another senior devotees, Gogovind, Sahaprabhu, so many other devotees are here. And so we can have discussions and questions and answers because we don't have a lot of time, and to try to do whatever will be nourishing to our bhajan. Also, these things like Kartik Mas, Janmastami, Gautami, Radhastami, Baladev Jayanti, etc., they're all meant to be udipan, because the nature of bhakti is bhakti rasa. Gurudev said, we're not practicing bhakti. We're trying to become absorbed in bhakti rasa, because if there is no taste in your practice, if the rasa samadhi, means the ingredients of the rasa in the things that we're doing don't manifest, it's very difficult to maintain a consistency of emotional engagement in what you're doing. And that's with anything. Just explained in Bhagavad Gita, what is it? Rasa Vrajam Rasa Pyasha Param Drishva Navartate. So Param Drishva means a superior taste. So tasting what? So he's saying Rasa Vrajam Rasa Pyasha, to give up Jad Ras means material taste. It has to be a superior taste, but that taste must be of the same thing, of rasa, but this rasa comes from the spiritual paradigm. See? And so even when we're doing study, it's called Shwadhyay, when you're doing spiritual study, everything, then the idea is not to collect the information, how many shloks, how many, etc., but to taste the artha dwani, means the meaning and the echo of the meanings, and then taste the rasa samadhi that's present in the conclusions of that. That's what nourishes bhakti. That's the food in bhakti. That's the nourishment in bhakti that makes bhakti grow. The things grow by eating and taking water, etc. In other words, nourishment. So, just like in the Guru Astakam prayer, Chaturvidashi Bhagavat Prasadam, Swadhana Triptam. Swadhana means, swad means tasting, and ana means nourishment. So tasting what is nourishing in the realization of Krishna's Chatur Madhuri. This is the meaning of this thing. So singing Gurastakam then can become Udipan. Jai Shri Radha Ki Jai. Jai Shri Radha Ki Jai. So tasting the Rasa Samadhi in these things gives nourishment to bhajan. And when the bhajan is nourished, it grows. And then the thing is, it's called praspara. Praspara means something that's mutually nourishing. So then, as the bhajan grows, then the bhajan takes shelter of more bhajan because of the taste in it. Right? It's just like anything else. You take one bite. What was it? There's a TV commercial one time with some kind of chip or something says you can't eat just one. You can't eat one. You can't eat just one. Yeah.
Jay's.
Huh? Was it
Jay's.
Potato chips.
Jay's potato chips.
Lays? Lays.
Well, Jay's in Chicago.
Oh, okay. All of them. So same thing. You can't eat just one. The idea being that if you taste it, that taste produces desire for the taste. Of course, that taste probably came from genetically modified ingredients. But here, the taste comes from divine substance called Swarup Shakti. Right? So this is actually what Swarup Shakti is. Swarup Shakti is the inherent taste in the practice of bhakti. So Swarup Shakti first comes as a prabhav, means an influence. So then when it comes to the stage of Ashakti, the Swarup Shakti becomes an abhas. It becomes a shadow of the substance. And then in bhav, the actual substance descends. So up to the stage of Ashakti, it is a prabhav, and the prabhav becomes stronger and stronger. Much like when the sun begins to rise, as it gets further and further in its course, it becomes hotter and hotter during the day. Until at noon, it's at its full strength, and it's very hot. So in the same way, Swarup Shakti acts as a prabhav, even in faith, even in Shraddha, it's a prabhav. Because if there was no potency in faith, then you could not get out of the material entanglement by it. So even though the Shastra is saying Adol Shraddha, that first there's faith, that faith has the potency of the Prabhav, means the influence of Swarup Shakti. So Shraddha Anupani Vajam Bhakti Unmukhi Chitta Vritti Visesh. So it has the power to break the attachment to the material energy. Because if that was not there, then that attachment could not be broken. Because the attachment to the material energy is called abhinavesh. It is an inextricable absorption that the jiva cannot extricate themselves from. So it's faith, and that faith being imbued with the prabhava swarup shakti can break that. The breaking of it is called mati. Mati means the discrimination arises either from previous spiritual impressions or from impressions gathered in this lifetime. Oh, who am I? Why am I suffering? What else is there in life? Etc. And then, if that has come from some previous experience in bhakti, it will illuminate the inspiration to approach someone in the path of bhakti to answer those questions. Who am I? Why am I suffering? What is this world? Etc. So it's actually the guidance of the previous impressions of bhakti that's doing that. That's why people end up going to a sadhu, or you see a Hare Krishna party or something, and it stirs something in you to go check it out, so forth, so on. Those are previous impressions. Okay? If there was no previous impression like that, then it's very difficult to come in contact with bhakti. Very difficult, because bhakti is very rare. That's why you cannot say bhakti is just hanging around in everybody. Potential for bhakti is hanging around everybody, but not bhakti itself. Plus, it's written in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu clearly, Goswami saying that what kind of particular taste everything else comes from impressions from previous lives that you can't trace out, Jiva Goswami says. You cannot trace out when it started. Yeah, it was in my 5 lives ago. Not quite like that. So, any questions about anything? And if we could discuss it.
I would like for you to repeat the question because people on the Zoom, on the streams, don't hear unless I have a mic. I don't want a mic. So my question is, can you give us some elucidation about the lives in Goloka Vrindavan, and also as opposed to the lives, the everyday civilization, what's going on, and as opposed to in Vrindavan on earth? Also, can you contrast that, maybe slightly give us some understanding about Vaikuntha civilization, lives every day? What do they do? What do people do? Do they have money? Do they have, they know some people have duties and jobs. I mean, what kind of system is going on?
Well, I don't know how it was affected by the election. I have to call somebody, find out if things changed there. No, I'm joking. So Didi's question is some summary of what is the existence, what is life like in various places. So in the material world, pretty much that maybe we could treat last if it's necessary. But what is life like in the Nitya Dham of Golok, Gokul, in the Prakat Dham of Golok, of Gokul, and what is it like in Vaikuntha? What is the life? What is the existence there? So the Nitya Dham of Gokul, Golok is the Nitya Dham. The outer portion of that Dham is called Mathura and then Dwarka. The inner portion of that place is called Gokul. Okay? That same Gokul and Golok has a parallel here in the material arena, in the material universes. When Krishna descends to perform his Prakat Lila, it's that very same Dham that descends, and it carries with it a speciality of Visesh. The Visesh of this Dham here is that what is a conception there, what is experienced as a conception there, plays out in details here. Like Krishna's birth, like the demons who come to attack Braj, like Krishna's going to Mathura and Dwarka, they all play out here in an actuality. in the eternal abode, there are conception that is felt by the absorption in the Harikatha of Madhukanta and Snigdhakanta. Understand? They're hearing this Harikatha, and via the Harikatha, in their eternal forms, which do not change, they have an abhiman that I was born to this gopi, I grew up, and this. But the eternal age, let's say for instance in the Manjaris, eternal age is 12 and a half, 13 years old. They have an idea though that I was born to one gopi in Vrindavan and I grew up here, and my association with Radhika, etc. You understand? But eternally they're that age and everything. There was no birth and all these things. In this world, in the Prakat Lila, the actualities take place. You're born in the womb of a gopi, so forth, and then you grow up and you develop your relationship with Radhika, and so forth and so on. So the difference, the speciality is that in the Prakat Lila, there are nuances here that are special. Therefore, there is a, not superior, but a extra taste in the Prakat Lila that's not there in Golok. So I think I explained before, the essence of love is based on meeting and separation. Right? So this is clear, right? So there's 4 kinds of meeting, 4 kinds of separation. One separation mode is called Purvarag. So Purvarag is the experience that the gopis have prior to actually meeting with Krishna in a mature sense. They grew up together, so they know him as a young boy. But when Krishna chastised Kaliya, the gopis were just coming into the age where their maturation was taking place. So it's called Vaya Sandhi. It's like the junction between ages. It was at that time that they saw Krishna and their mood for him changed. So at that time it was like the first time seeing him in that mood, but they didn't have contact with him in that mood. You understand? This developed Purvarag. That Purvarag is sort of elucidated in Venugit. The verses of Venugit, those 20 verses, are the illumination of the feeling called Purvarag. Understand? One of the hallmark qualities of Purvarag is also called Avahittabhav. It means their feelings are concealed. This is one of the ingredients of Madhurya Rasa. It's called Prachanamukata. The feelings have to be kept hidden. That begins with the gopis doing Avahittabhav. They're giving expression to feelings about Krishna, but as young girls, it's very difficult to check it. If any lady is mature and she likes a gentleman, she can very coyly, if that's the right word, conceal her feelings. She doesn't have to openly express. She can be mature and conceal. But 10-year-old girls, if they like a boy, they'll giggle, they'll do things. It's very difficult to suppress it. You understand? So in the Venugit, you'll see they have difficulty suppressing. So they run into their own mutual groups. Like if they hear the sound of Krishna's flute, they all run into their groups, because in their groups they can feel comfortable. So Abhire Bire means they all went into their own groups. Abhire Bire means they began to embrace each other. Did you?
I just want to say, I think her question was related to the Ashtakaliya Leela in the Vaikuntha and Golok, if I'm not right. She said, how do they spend their time?
Yeah.
But there is no time there. So what is the 24-hour, what is the Ashtakaliya Leela?
I will get there, but one of the things is there's time, but it's not Prakat Kal. Okay. But you have to make this differentiation, because she was asking what's the difference also here. Yeah, what is life here? So I'm finding the speciality of this Prakat Lila, why there's some sense of superiority here. Shri Chutalal Bhaji, he mentioned
You said
this.
there's superiority here?
There's some sense of superiority here.
Who has that sense?
Huh? Shri Chutalal Bhaji gave a class on this once,
Wow.
and he was mentioning, and that's not our metric of superiority, transcendentally. I'll explain why.
I like the breath.
So, like, here in Purvarag I'm describing that they have these feelings, they hide them, they associate among each other, and so forth and so on. Then, when they do meet for kind of dealings, after Purvarag, it's called Samshit Sambol. It means the meeting is kind of brief, brief, not contracted, but brief. Because brief here means you can't give full expression, because there's still shyness. Lajja, it's called lajja. There's shyness and a little bit of embarrassment. So you can look at each other from the corner of the eyes. There's giggling, passing, there's joking a little bit. You understand? It's called Samship Sambho. Then, when there's more maturation, there can be mom. So man, what is it? Ahili premna goti swabhava kutila bhavet hetu sya manam yunamudachati. There can be man, it means you can give expression to a crookedness in the love because there's some familiarity. So now there's maturation, a little familiarity. So now you can give expressions either by a real genuine cause, like a genuine cause would be something called Gotra Skalana. So Krishna wants to describe in poetic way the beauty of Radhika. So he tells that your eyes are like lotus petals, and your smile is like the moon and the rays of the moon. The rays of the moon are called Chandra Avali. Understand? So he may say in the poetry of trying to be romantic, say, and your smile is like Chandravali. But what have you done inadvertently? Okay? It's called Gotra Skalana. You understand? To call the name of the other beloved. So then it could, in genuine make a mood where Radhika will become angry. It's called man. Sometimes it will become ahetu means for no reason. Krishna may be doing something, and Radhika may just get an attitude, for lack of a better word. You understand? It's called ahetu man. And in this ahetu man, it is a little easier to break. This is the difference. But if there's a cause, it can become what's called durjaiman. Means it's difficult to break it because there was actually a reason for it to become angry. Anyway, meeting after this man is called sankirna sambhog. It means they're meeting, but the meeting is, the mood is contracted there. It's similar to a husband and a wife. They have an argument or something. So now they're in love, quote, and after the time passes, they come back together, they're in the house, everything, and the incident has been kind of resolved, but the lingering effect of the argument is still in the atmosphere. So you may ask, I see, was there anything that you made for prasad? It's in the fridge. You understand? So it's not maybe the same mood as, oh, no, sit sweetie, I'll bring you the prasad. There's some still mood there. This is called sankirna sambhog. That there's meaning, but there's some energy there from the residue of whatever the disagreement was. You understand? It's called sankirna sambhog. Then there's pravas. When Krishna goes to take the cows out for grazing, then the gopis feel great separation. They follow Krishna in their hearts by what's called bhav netra. In their hearts they follow Krishna. Right? But sometimes Krishna may enter into a cave of Govardhan or go under a deep configuration of banyan trees or something they can't see, or separation really increases even more. Understand? When they meet after that, either by agati means a sudden meeting or a planned meeting, it is called sampanna sambhog, full meeting. This all four, those four, they take place in Nitya Golok Dham. Understand? Another one is called Sudur Pravas. Sudur Pravas means, according to Ujjwala Nimani, that when the beloved goes to a distant place for a long period of time and comes under the control of circumstances with others involved, therefore they cannot return. That is called Sudur Pravas. The meeting that takes place after that is what happens at Kurukshetra during the solar eclipse, and it's called Samriddhiman Sambhog. That only takes place in the Prakat Lila. Understand? So this is one of the specialities of this Prakat Lila. In the Nitya Lila, though these feelings take place, if you look in Gopal Champu, after each narration of Harikatha, especially when that katha is related to Krishna either going for pravas or the narrations of his going to Mathura and Dwarka, very quickly at the end of the narration, Shnidakant will say, but your beloved is sitting just next to you. So dissolve the entire thing right away. In the Prakat Lila, it does not happen. So another speciality in Prakat Lila is that the nature of the prem itself grows to a point where the separation becomes more of a value for producing love than the actual presence of Krishna. So I'm giving the shlok in Ujjwala Nimani that explains like this. Rudabhavo yam sambhoga vipralambika nirbharanam paramavadi purnam nirbhanda paramavadi purnamishyate. virharati, dvigune virharati, spurite anuragaje. So he's saying here that in what's called vipralambika pradurbhava, that the nature of the love becomes so intense that it exceeds the presence of Krishna, and the separation produces Krishna's presence, nirbharananda, unimpeded. When Krishna is present in Vrindavan, at that time there's always the anxiety of his separation. It is this anxiety of his separation, or pending separation, that produces the phenomenon called prem vaichitya. Have you heard this word before? Yes. That when Krishna is sitting with Radhika, he just... This comes in anurag. Anurag, paraspara, vasibhava, prema vaichitya tata. So even in anurag, this prem vaichitya comes. So this is not like prem vaichitya. This is the nature of love having grown to a point where the separation is so deep that when Krishna has gone to Mathura and to Dwarka, it is called Bhuta Milan. Bhuta Milan means when a lover has gone and you've resolved, I don't know when they're coming back. Because when Krishna got on the chariot to leave, he said, Ashya iti, I'll return the day after tomorrow. But 40, 50, 60, 70 years, according to the various Shastras, passed before they met at Kurukshetra. And according to the mood of gopis, after Tite Bhavan Anikananam Tritiyugayate Tvam Apasyatam, if even a second will pass, according to Gopi Geet, then their hearts become completely devastated. So Kshana Kalpata means, Kshana means like a fraction of a second becomes like a whole kalpa. This is one of the moods in Buddha Mahabharata. You understand? So he's saying that if he goes even for a second, it's like a whole kalpa is gone. What to speak of 80 years, 90 years, 70 years? You understand? So this feeling becomes so intense, they take full shelter of that. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Panji Goswami, in commenting on this verse in Ujjalin Mani, said that Vipralambika, the suffix ka here means it produces. So the separation, Vipralambika, produces sambhog. Krishna realized that. Gurudev told this Katha about Prem Sarovara, that when Krishna witnessed Prem Vaichitya of Radhika, he realized that she has such a bhav that in her mood, she has the ability to capture my presence beyond me being just with her. You understand? I can't compete with that. You understand? So Gurudev said this is one of the reasons that Krishna decided to go to Mathura and Dwarka. You understand?
Would you mind repeating that just one more time? I don't actually understand.
Okay, let me explain. It's good. Krishna, when he's with Radhika, because they are not married, there has to be some time Krishna will go back to his place and Radhika will go. So separation is always pending, even when they're together. Right? If any persons are meeting, even just that, we won't say any illicit thing, just regular boyfriend and girlfriend, but they're not married or anything. So you go on a date, but he's going home at some point, you're going. So even if no matter how enjoyable experience everything is going, some point, we know at some point, we have to separate. That feeling is there with gopis because they are married to others. Krishna will have to return home. So that feeling of impending separation is always present as long as Krishna is present. You understand? When a person, their lover's going on a 5-year contract somewhere, right? So they go on a 5-year contract to that place. There's 3 different stages Srila Gaura Govind Maharaj described. Bhavi Milan. Bhavi Milan means the stage when the notice comes in that the beloved has to go to a contract for 5 years. There's a 2-week period before they have to leave. That 2-week period is Bhavi Milan. Every day it's getting closer, there's some stress about that day, so forth, so on, so on. The period after they leave and they're gone and they're in that place, and now you've resolved yourself, well, they're not coming back for 5 years, and that's if everything goes well, so forth, so on. That's called Bhuta Milan. So you take shelter of your natural love for that person, the memories you have with them, that's your sustenance during that period. Bhavan Milan means the period when you have to drive them to the airport. And then you get to the airport, and you get there and you walk up to the ticket counter. And they purchase the tickets and you're walking hand in hand and you get to security. And then they can go, but you can't go further than that. And then you watch them walk down and you're on this side. So that's called Bhavi Milan. That's equivalent to Krishna getting on the chariot of Akrura. Then, Bhuta Milan, Krishna's gone to Dwarka and to Mathura, and he's gone for a long time. Now the gopis are fully taking shelter of their praying. After Krishna got on the chariot of Akrura, and the gopis openly revealed their love. They recite this verse. So Vishraja Laj means they gave up the Laja, means they gave up Prachana Mukita, hiding the love. So in front of husbands, wives, they sit there, Govinda Damo, Dharamada, and Rudasma Suswaram. So Rudasma means they were crying, like you would cry for a beloved. So if you are married to somebody, and somebody else is traveling, and you see your wife break down, that would be a little problematic. So, Rudasma Suswaram is very important here. Suswaram means Suswara means like, Su means very good, Swara means like the melody they were singing. It was very enchanted with love. So all witness, all Abhimanyu, everybody all witnessed. That time gopis did not return home. They stayed at Ruda of Kyari for 90 days. Then they went to stay at Nandagan with Mother Yashoda to comfort them. This is where Hamsadut takes place, everything. Where Radhika's laying, this book Hamsadut, you heard about this book before? It's the book of Rupa Goswami describing the separation of Radhika and Lalita's imploring one swan to take a message. This book is called Hamsadutta. Understand? That's Radhika's attitude of carrying a deep mood of separation. This deep mood of separation is called Vipralambika Pradurbhav. It's a mood in which the separation itself becomes so powerful, it manifests Krishna before the beloved. Nirbharananda, unrestricted. So there's no feeling he's leaving. This is why Krishna told them, Ya Mahabhajan Durjaya Shinkala Samvishta Yat Tat Pariyatu Sadhuna. That let your love be your reward. Because to everyone else, I can reciprocate. But it's explained through Jalimani, even in Mohan Bhav. Because Mohan Bhav, Praya, is primarily in Radhika. Praya, the word Praya means like primarily in Radhika. Madan Bhav is exclusively in Radhika. But he said, I cannot reciprocate with this. You understand? Meaning Radhika. The reason I'm bringing this up because it means Radhika. Right? By extension, the gopis, but primarily Radhika, he cannot reciprocate with that love. And then by extension, the gopis. So he's saying, let your love itself be the reward. So what is their love? Vipralambika Pradurbhav. It reaches that stage. So now Krishna is reciprocating through their separation. That takes place here in, back to the point, in this Prakat Dham. Understand? So that's the speciality and one transcendental superiority of Krishna's Prakat Lila.
I had a question. So is it Vipralambika Radhika who is meeting Dwarkadhish in Kurukshetra?
No. Her question was, is it Vipralambika Radhika who's meeting Krishna Kurukshetra? No, because Vipralambika is a mood that only takes place in Braj. Understand?
She would meet Dwarkadhish.
No, but
Go to Dwarka, like you mean the Surya ground, at the solar eclipse.
at the Kurukshetra,
Yeah, the solar eclipse.
he's Dwarkadhish. How can Radha Rani meet Dwarkadhish?
No. Radhika, at that time, first, Dwarkadish is also a Tattvagata consideration. Tattvagata, which means it's consideration of Tattva, not the rasa. Because is Krishna ever truly Dwarkadish?
No.
Not really. But is Krishna Dwarkadish? There's no Gujarat temple with Dwarkadish deity? I went there myself personally.
Yeah.
So how is he Dwarkadish? He's Dwarkadish according to the upasana of those who are worshipping Dwarkadish Krishna.
Right.
You understand? He's Dwarkadish. He's Bhagavan in the form of Sri Krishna. You understand? But from Vrijabasi's perspective, he can never be Dwarkadish. Because he can never truly be separated from Radhika. The secret of Radhika's love, Madan Bhav, the description is given in Ujjwali Mani of Radhika's love. Yog Esha Bhaved Esha Vachitri Kopi Madanaha Rajvilasa Virajante Nitya Lila Sahasrada. Radhika's prem is Yog Esh. It means that there's no chance of them being separated. Right, Mukund, you just said he went to that, blah, blah, blah. So it means that Radhika's love has the power to always manifest Krishna and so forth. So actually, in Madan Bhav is where Vipralambika Prado Bhav can thrive. Therefore, even when Krishna is in Dwarka, one symptom of Adirud Bhav is called Govinda Kanta Shnishte Murchina. It means he's embracing one of the queens, but he remembers Radhika and faints. Understand? So from a Brijvasi perspective, Krishna never becomes Dwarkadish. He becomes Krishna who's in the depth of separation living in Dwarka. You understand? So he's Virginia Nandan who's gone there, he's suffering in great separation. And then it creates the mood among those who follow Radhika that, oh, our entire goal of life is to do what? To bring them back together. Does that happen in Srimad Bhagavatam? So how does that happen then? You heard before. So how does this happen?
Through the praying.
Through the praying. Vipralambika Pradurabhav, but where else will it happen? In Gaur-lila. Therefore, the nature of that love makes another transformation. Shri Radha Pranaya Vikriti. Vikriti means transformation. Ladini Shakti Ashma. The essence of love is Ladini Shakti. Ladini Sada Prem. Prem Sada Bhav, etc. So the Ladini Vritti makes a transformation that makes Krishna fulfill three desires. How to taste the mood of Srimati Radhika, how to understand how Radhika feels by the expression of his Chattumaduri, and the happiness that she experiences as a result of that. But it also puts him in a position to fulfill the desires of Radhika by taking an additional form called Jagannath. So now in the form of Jagannath, Krishna fulfills another of his own desires, because if he's absorbed in the mood of Radhika, how can Krishna know he's tasting the mood of Radhika? You can't get cake and eat it too. So what you do is you take another form so I can witness it. So therefore Jagannath's eyes are like this because of the amazement, chamatkar, of witnessing myself tasting the mood of Radhika and feeling the desire of Radhika to bring me back to Vrindavan in the form of Rath Yatra. So that's why these Leelas are a prequel. Krishna Leela, the prequel to Krishna Leela is Ram Leela. Then Krishna Leela, the sequel to Krishna Leela is Gaur Leela. Okay, so if you study Ramayana closely, then study Krishna Leela, and then look at Gaur Leela, you see this trilogy. Better than any movie ever. That's real. So that is the speciality of Prakat Leela. In the Nitya Leela, in Nitya Dham, called Ashtakali Leela, that she mentioned, through that you can look in Krishna Bhavanamrita, Govinda Leela Amrita, or Bhavasara Sangraha is very nice because it contains, I know you ladies are reading, yeah? So it contains comments from all three of those, including Krishna Kamuli and other sastra. So in the Ashtakali Leela, the expression of these moods is expressed throughout 8 periods of the day, from Nisant Leela all the way to Ratri Leela. Right? Divided into divisions of 3 normally, but the Madhyanik Leela at Radhakund is extended. I think it's 5 or 6 hours, I cannot remember offhand. Understand? So those same things of praying are expanded throughout 8 periods of the day. In our Gaudiya line, in the line of Mahaprabhu, then the speciality is that Gaur Leela is also contemplated first. So Mahaprabhu also has an Ashtakaliya Leela in Navadvip Dham. So when you read these, you'll first read the Ashtakaliya Leela of Mahaprabhu, then taking shelter of that Leela, you'll enter into the Antaranga of Radha Krishna's Leela during each period. So during Nisant Leela of Mahaprabhu, you read Mahaprabhu is waking up from his bed with Vishnu Priya. He touches her face very beautifully. He talks to her very sweet words, and he goes to brush his teeth. This is in Gaur's Ashtakaliya Leela. Taking deep shelter of Gaur Leela, then you'll come up in the Nisant Leela of Krishna. What is the Nisant Leela of Krishna? Mangala Shiguru Gauda. We're singing it every day. Mangala Nishanta Lila. Mangala Uda. You understand? So all the descriptions in the Udipan of Nishant Lila mentioned here. The gathering of Sukh and Sadi. They're singing and creating such a wonderful atmosphere. All the way up to the time they have to leave. Kushamita Saravare. Kamalahinol means they've now parted and they're going back to Nandagam and to Varsana. And they're passing Kusumasarovar. Understand? So everything is in that bhajan, what is Nisant Lila. And Nisant Lila is very important because it is one of the pinnacle places of the entrance of Manjari Upasana and Manjari Seva. Understand? That's why it's so important. So there's a Nitya Lila that goes on in Nitya Golok Dham, but there is no Mathura Dwaka Gam. It means he never goes to Mathura Dwaka. There is also no Janma there. There are no demons there or anything like that. Different sampradayas, they have different conceptions of the Ashtakali Lila. In some sampradayas, the Ashtakali Lila takes place in 8 divisions of one Mahakunj. This Mahakunj has 8 different divisions of different sizes. And throughout 8 periods of the day, they serve Krishna by serving Radhika. But there's no division like Manjaris, Priya Sakis, Priya Nama, none of that. They're all just Sakis of Radhika. And they do Nitya Milan Seva. They're always with Radhika, serving in different sections of this Mahakunj throughout 8 periods of the day. In our Gaudiya line, our Brajadam becomes a whole place of doing Ashtakaliya Lila. So there's Nisant Lila in any place that was prearranged, in any of the yoga peaks where Radha Krishna are meeting, like Nirvan, any place. And then Krishna will go back to Nandagan, Radhika will go to Vasana or Yavat, depending on the time of season. Then they may take meeting at Govardhan, they may meet at Radhakund, Shamakund, they may meet in this place, that place. Understand? So whole Braj becomes that. And different kinds of Sakis moods are there. So Priya Sakis, they are servants to the Paramapresta Sakis like Lalita, Vishaka, Chitta, Champakalata, Sudevi, Rangana, etc. Then Pran Sakis like Rup Manjari, Rati Manjari, Lavanga Manjari, Vilas Manjari, Gun Manjari, Rama Manjari, etc. And then Nitya Sakis, if anybody is fortunate to do Sadhan Bhajan, come to realization, then you'll realize your Swarup. It is called Nitya Sakti Swarup. And you'll serve under the guidance of any Pran Sakti, beginning with your own Guru Rupa Sakti. So there are many bhajan paritis that are written describing these things, but it has to come from genuine realization coming out of Southern bhajan. So if you read Govind Archan Smaran Pariti, then you have the externals. But the antarapant means the internal mood of our perfection is in which book? Which book is it? There's 2 paths of Raganuga Shadan. One is called the antarapant. The antarapant is most expressed in the Gaur Govind Archan Smaran Parati of Dhyan Chandra Goswami, written under the guidance of Vikeshwar Pandit. Gopal Guru Goswami, coming in the line of Vikeshwar Pandit. What is the antarapant? The internal path. And which book and by whom?
Was it Manasiksha?
Manasiksha Raghunath Das Goswami. This is called the antarapant. This is the internal adjustments to do Raganuga Sadhana. And then other bhajan paritis like Ragvatma Chandrika, they're all written in synopsis form. Prem, Bhakta Chandrika, like this. What is Shishashtakam? Our Sunday Zoom class now is Shishashtakam. Shishashtakam is Mahaprabhu's own handwritten bhajan pariti, based on Harinam. Because everything is possible by Nam. That's why he says in the second verse, Namnam Akri Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti. All of the Shakti of Prem, Bhakti, everything is in this Nam. So he writes his bhajan pariti based on Nam. And the pariti has 2 meanings. One meaning, Mahaprabhu was writing for the benefit of sadakas, who were to practice the path of Rag Marg. Because remember, Prem Rasniyas Karite Ashran, Rag Marg Bhakti Loke Karite Prachan. He wanted to preach Rag Marg. Primarily he did that through devotees. But he wrote Shishashtakam as a parity for those who want to practice Rag Marg based on the foundation of Sri Nam. Because this is the real way to practice Rag Marg. Jiva Goswami, everybody's commented like this. Right? So, he wrote that, but he did not speak it himself till he spoke it to Swarup Damodar and Roy Ramananda after hearing the sonnet of Advaita Acharya in the 19th chapter of Anchalila. In the 20th chapter of Anchalila, he takes shelter after hearing that sonnet of the mood of Radhika when she was at Uddhavkari when Krishna left on the chariot. That time he speaks the same Shishashtakam in the mood of separation of Radhika. So now the meanings in the Shishashtakam take on the meaning of the moods of separation. So then the interpretation becomes different. One is a parity for us to practice, but our ultimate goal is to serve Radhika. So here in this parity, Radhika reveals her moods in the Shishashtakam. Also, Ramananda Roy and Sarup Damodar having one desire fulfilled that they had as Lalita and Vishaka. What desire is that in Gaur-lila? Prabodhananda Saraswati also fulfilled his desire in Gaur-lila.
To have forms where they could be with Krishna all the time.
Like Manjaris, do that kind of seva. Yes.
But the Manjari form that they're manifesting is temporary, right?
No Manjari form. Manjari mind.
Oh.
Gaur-lila, Manjari mind. So he's writing Rasa Sudha Nidhi and become absorbed in the meditations and thinking of Manjari. So that's why when you ask, I think Srila Bhakti Srila Maharaj said, what was that Manjari's name? It's not any name, Manjari. He's taking shelter of that mood. So they're tasting in Gaur-lila the chant for that mood. Why also do you think Mahaprabhu sent all the Manjaris to Vrindavan? You get what happened?
Yes.
He sent all the Manjaris except Rati Manjari, Raghunath Das Goswami, sent to Vrindavan, Raghunath Das Goswami, Rati Manjari, he stayed to capture what was happening in Bengal so that when he would go to Vrindavan, he could share. Similarly, Jiva Goswami would then take all the writings and activities of the Goswamis, there was always messages, but he would take that all back to Narottam Srinivas Shamananda, to the second generation in Bengal and all of that. But Mahaprabhu said Lokanath, Buddha, then all Goswamis except Raghunath Das Goswami, all to Braj. Because the places of Braj that can be excavated with the moods of Radhika can be excavated only by who? Who understands Radhika's moods? So who can excavate those places? You understand? Same time it gave Swarup Damodar, Roy Ramananda, who are Lalita and Vishaka, and Tunga Vijaya, who's Prabodhananda Saraswati, time to become absorbed in serving like in Manjari mood. Because the Gambiras like Uddhavkari. It says he directly became absorbed in the mood of Radhika and Uddhavkari when Akrura was taking Krishna away. So this is called Bhavan Milan. So then the verses of Shashtakam contain that complete mood.
But what's that for a person who's not a sadhaka? What's the translation of Nam Nam?
That's what we're doing every Sunday now. And last week I did, didn't I? We went over the external meaning and then the secondary meaning. Any other question there? Or any sharing?
I've read my Gurudev's Kartik handbook when he was talking about the fourth yam, the meeting at Radhakundi. My Gurudev explained that I think it was actually in Marga Sampradaya that they believe that the meeting of Radha and Krishna at night in the eighth yam is the highest pastime, but we Gaudiyas take the pastimes at Radhakund to be the highest pastime. So to whatever extent it can be expressed publicly, could you explain a little bit about why Radha and Krishna's pastimes at Radhakund are higher than the Rasalila pastimes in the eighth yam?
Yeah, because according to the Sanket that's given earlier, where they will meet, in any Rasa Stali throughout different places, then that Rasalila will have slightly transcendently not the same as the Madhyalik Lila at Radhakund. Because Radhakund is the pinnacle of the nature of Madhanakya Mahabharata. Understand? That place contains all the elements of Madhanakya Mahabharata. Meeting and separation simultaneously in Vipralambika Pradurbhava, I just spoke about earlier. That's represented in Radhakund. Not every Rasa Stali has that. Understand? So do you know how it's represented? Radhakund is Radharani. What is Shamkund?
Krishna.
Are they separate?
Separate, but there was a slight connect.
Where's the connection?
Under.
In the Sangam.
Right.
So you have meeting and separation simultaneously. That is called Vipralamika Pradurbha. You understand? That's called Maranaki Mahabharata. Yoga Esha Bhaganesha. Right? So I'm explaining this verse. That'll help. Yogesha Bhavedesha, Vijitri Kopi Madana. Vijitra Kopi Madana means Vijitri means like amazing, sweet characteristic of Madan Bhav is Vrajvilasa Virajante. It only takes place in Braj itself. It can't be illuminated in matured walking anywhere else. Nitya Lila Sahasrada. In thousands of different prakosts, Radhika is meeting and separating with Krishna simultaneously. Understand? So, Radhakun, Shamakun exactly make an emblem of that directly. How? Because Radhika and Krishna are always together, Yogesha. But when they're together, how are they separated?
You mentioned that, was it Prem by Chitya, where even when she's with him, you know, the remembrance of him will bring her to meet with him within, I guess, another chamber.
But Prem by Chitya takes place in Anurag.
Not only in Mahabhav.
Huh?
You're saying it takes place
Even before Mahabhav, it takes place in Anurag. Anurag is described, Praspara, Vasi Bhava, Prem by Chitya Tata. It takes place in Anurag.
Yeah.
So, that height of prem, which Krishna is always present, but the depth of the love can make it that even when he's separated, he's present. So Radhika enters one chamber after another where she's separated but they're meeting. So as soon as they're meeting and they're together, you understand? The excitement of that hits a pinnacle and turns into separation, makes yearning for it again to meet. And you understand what I'm saying? It's like almost like a cycle. So the yearning to meet creates meeting. Then the meeting creates such a height, they become separated because they become absorbed in the praying, they become separated, and it's like a cycle. That's the nature of Madan Bhav. That's the speciality of Madan Nakima Bhav. And it's in the verse there with Jali Mani. And all of the other Bhavs are in Madan Nakima Bhav. Sava Bhavat, Gamalangshi. All the other Bhavs. Rag, Pranay, is all. Radhika doesn't like give up one and then elevates to another.
Right.
They're all simultaneously existing. So she's taking shelter, for instance, in one prakosh of Rag, in what she thinks Krishna has become separated, and one whole Leela is unfolding there. And the entire nature of that Leela is yearning for them to meet again. All of her Saktis, Manjars, everything, but in that also Leela, they find Krishna, they meet again. And when they meet again, what happens to the mood? And then again, they become absorbed in that mood and something happens and Krishna again disappears for some reason, this and that. And then they're same, so it's like a cycle like this. And it's taking place, Nitya Lila Sasrada, in unlimited, it says Sasra means thousands, but it means unlimited prakosh. Yeah? But in Nimbaka Sampradaya, Vallabhi Sampradaya, mostly Nitya Milan. They don't have an idea in their Nitya Lila of separation mood. That's the unique feature contributed by Madhavendra Puri. That's why it's such a big deal. You getting?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to claim full realization of everything about Mahabhav, but I'm more or less thank you.
Yeah, it's very wonderful, very amazing, because you're understanding what is the nature of that love. That love is so, that's why Vijitri Kopi Madana, who can imagine, what kind of love is this? Has all these nuances and characteristics. Understand? And our aspiration is for savor to that love, not that love itself. You understand?
In this context only, I wanted to ask, so does Nimbak Sampradaya or Vishnu Swami, or do they not have Prema Bhakti in their Shant Bhav at all?
No, they don't have Shant Bhav. They have Madhurya Rasan Pasa. Because their mood in that Sampradaya is taking shelter of Radhika. Highest theme for the Gopis and Radhika is coming from Vishnu Swami's thing.
So there are 4 Sampradayas, and Sri Sampradaya where they are worshipping
Lakshmi Narayan.
They do have Shant Bhav.
They have Shanta Bhav and Dasya Bhav.
But in the Dasya Bhav, there is no Shuddha Dasya. It is in the...
It is Shuddha Dasya Bhav in Sri Sampradaya.
There is.
Yes.
But that's not Prema Bhakti though?
It is Prem.
It is Prema.
Yeah, it's also Prem.
It is very hard to understand where's the limit of Prem, where it starts.
Prem is in everything from Sadharani Rati of Kubja. You understand? Prem is everywhere. The question is what kind of
So
Prem?
if Kubja has the hearts for Krishna, that's some form of Prem.
That's a form of Prem.
Okay.
How she get Prem? If you don't have love for Krishna, how do you get this association?
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
The thing was she had the hearts exclusively for Krishna.
Yes.
That's the key phrase.
Okay.
The hotspot is okay, but exclusively for Krishna.
Okay.
Understand? And similarly, the queens of Dwarka, they have what is it? Sadarirati, Samanjasarati. So Samanjasarati means they love Krishna genuinely, but they also understand he's my husband. And by the way, he's also Bhagavan. And also, so greatly fortunate. I'm married to Bhagavan. And I have 10 sons and a daughter. Understand? I'm living in also an opulent palace, everything else. So Samartharati, Samartha means completely the value, Samartharati. It's completely like that because there's no other cause for their existence than the love itself. You understand? In other words, between gopis and Krishna, what other factor is there? They're not husband and wife dharmically. So what is the cause of? There's no other cause for their love but the love itself. Understand? And the height of that love is not repayable by Krishna. It's the meaning of the verse in the Pari Hamdharvaja Samija. Because the height of that love is this Vipralomika Pradubhav. Krishna sees that in Prem Vaichitya. At Prem Sarovara, also during the Gopi Geet, when they're walking in the forest, and Radhika says, I can't walk anymore. There's so many, I'm not going into detail here. But then Krishna, okay, then climb onto my back. So Radhika, when Krishna tells her that, she becomes overwhelmed with shyness. So she reaches out to touch Krishna, but she closes her eyes. And when she closes her eyes and loses sight of Krishna, then Prem Vaichitya takes place. So then Krishna's hiding in the bushes and he's observing. Even when she's with me, like a Prem Sarovar, when she's with me, even if one sense will digest the udipan of my not being there, she'll fall into the mood of separation. Madhu Mangal simply saying Madhusudan is gone. She was looking at Madhusudan, but it went in the ear. Captured that one sense, that sense took over all others. Similarly, she was with Krishna directly, even in a tactile sense. She's reaching out to touch Krishna's back. But she didn't see him because she blinked for a second, being shy. She lost sight, we're separated. So now Krishna is thinking, wow, what is this? Even in my presence, she experienced such high quality of prema. Therefore, why would then, if you knew like this, why would you go? This becomes a question. Why would you leave?
Right.
Because he also knows the power of that love is so high, it produces my presence unabated, when it's in its highest state of Madanakya Mahabhav. Coming from Rudabhav, Adi Rudabhav is Modan, Mohan. Modan is shared with other Sakis. Mohan is Praya, it's the word Praya is used in the shlok, means primarily in Radhika. Understand? And Modan is exclusively in Radhika. But Dr. said, oh, this love, how can I reciprocate with this? I have no means. See? So he said, let this love itself be the reward. So in Gaur Leela, what is that Leela called? Ram's Leela is called Mariana Purushottam Leela. Krishna's Leela is called Leela Purushottam Leela.
Prem.
Praying, because in that Leela, he's giving this. Even I came for this. This is the best thing, man. You understand? I also came for this thing. You understand? So Prem now, Prem Rasniyas Karite. Ashwanan, I came to taste this. Rag Marg Bhakti Loke Karite Pracham. I want to preach, especially to the Bhakta Lok. Bhakta Loki has two meanings. Those who will be aspiring in Bhakti, but those who are already Bhaktas. So, Prem Naiva Goparamanam Kama Mityagamat Putam Udava Adayo Petam Vijanti Bhagat Priya. All the devotees from previous incarnations are Prahlad, Murari Gupta, is Hanuman, Panch Pandavas. All of you come into this Gaur Leela, and I'm giving to you the chance to experience Bhakta, the Bhakta Lok. I'm giving you a chance to experience this highest class of Prem. How you'll experience it? Through Nam Sankirtan. Where? In the courtyard of Srivas. So the Ras Leela is reproduced in Ordodja in the courtyard of Srivas. So the this Ordodja means magnificent, merciful form of the Rasa Leela is the Kirtan in the courtyard of Srivas. The expansion of that Kirtan in the courtyard of Srivas is when that reaches its highest level, it spills out onto the streets of Nadia and it becomes Narga Sankirtan. In the same way, when the height of Prem in Radhika's heart reaches a pinnacle, it spills out in Anurag, it is called Yavat Ashraya Vritti. Asana Janatamit Velodhanam. It spills out of the heart of Radhika into the hearts of those who are nearby and churns their hearts. You understand? So Naga Sankirtan spilled out from the Srivas Angan, became Naga Sankirtan into the hearts of so many people, and those people become churned in heart by it, and they enter the path of bhakti, and in their lives become materially ruined. And not everyone, but I'm saying it's mentioned like this. Because they become absorbed in bhajan life. But you know, this saying you have to understand it deeply, because it means your material life is ruined means it's a very wonderful thing, because it means you have no attachment to material life. It doesn't mean that you no longer have a home and a family. It means you have no more attachment to these things. So you have no attachment, then why not give it up? If you have no attachment, it means you don't need to give it up or not give it up. That's the meaning of no attachment. Meaning of no attachment doesn't mean I have to give it up because I have no attachment, because now you're attached to needing to give it up. You understand the psychology? So no attachment means have no attachment. In either you have it or you don't have it, either way, it is Krishna's mercy, Krishna's arrangement. Alright, any last question come in? Didi, what time should I stop?
They're still
7:20.
making the offering, so how much longer?
7:20 or 7:22.
7:22.
Alrighty? So, and Sham said you get on the conference, right? Because Bhumi was driving.
Oh, I don't have my phone's in the room.
Alright, anyway, I think he must have told, but he must have told to Sham. Because I told him I was coming here. Alright, any last questions or comments?
Who began the worship of Gaur Gadadhar in the Gaudiya Sampradaya?
Well, good, alright?
Yeah.
It was not, I know there was Gorgadhara Deities. Saha, do you remember? Before Bhaktivinoda Thakur, there was Gorgadhara.
Before Bhaktivinoda.
Before Bhaktivinoda, there was deity. I will look it up for you, because I'm not remember. Does anybody remember?
I heard it was Vishnu Priya Devi.
Could be all of those. She had the first deity Mahaprabhu.
I know that, but I
Yeah.
heard that she actually
Deity
established the
Gadadhar?
worship of Gaur Gadadhar.
Oh yes, could be. Could be. I remember. I will look it up to make sure. Or you could look also, make sure.
Could you speak something on the worship of Gaur Vishnu Priya?
Gaur Vishnu Priya is not the major upasana in our line.
I know that.
Oh yeah. It's not major upasana in our line. Gaur Gadadhar is though. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur was established. But Gaur Vishnu Priya is not. But they give deference to Vishnu Priya because Vishnu Priya was Bhudevi. And Bhudevi, she bore the weight of the separation mood of Mahaprabhu when he takes sannyas. Lakshmi Priya Devi was that Lakshmi who was doing austerities at Belbal. Her desire was fulfilled by coming into Gaur Lila as Lakshmi Priya. But she could not bear the separation of Mahaprabhu when he went to East Bengal to teach, and that's when she passed away. So, but Bhudevi Vishnu Priya bears the weight of the mood of separation, so she's very honored in our Gaudiya line.
I'm looking, since you brought up Gaur Gadadhar, is there a reason that the worship of Gaur Gadadhar is not as commonly seen as Gaur Nityananda? Is there a reason why it's maybe more confidential? So, I'm just curious about
It's
that.
based in Madhurya Rasupasan. The worship of the Lord Nityananda Mahaprabhu is more all paths of Radha Marg can be expressed through Gaur Nitai. Understand?
Yeah.
But specifically, Madhurya Rasupasan will be Gaur Gadadhar. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that's why his worship was like that. But also not that, because Hero Nitai Vinay Bhai, Ramakrishna Paritinai, if you're not worshiping Nityananda, you can't also understand Mahaprabhu. So you can't understand Gaur Gadadhar also unless you become worship Nityananda Prabhu. I explained many times the Panchatattva mantra, Panchatattva Krishna, Bhakti Rupa Surupakam, Bhakti Avatar Bhaktakyam, Namami Bhakti Shaktikam. This 5 truths that exist there are the means by which you enter into the true path of bhakti. The Bhakti Rupa is Radha Krishna. How they become one form again, that tattva will be revealed by Guru. Akanta Guru tattva is Nityananda. So Nityananda is the principle that reveals how the Bhakti Rupa exists. Then that understanding has to descend to the plane of the jiva. That comes from the mercy of Avatar, calling of Mahavishnu, Sadashiv, Advaita Acharya. Then Radhika herself appears to give the Shakti to allow the jivas to get that mercy. So Radhika self-appears as Gadadhar Pandit. Bhakta Shakti. Then the power to disseminate it, because Bhagavan or Radhika don't disseminate bhakti themselves. Who disseminates bhakti?
Pure Bhakta.
Pure Bhakta. So Srivas means, according to Murari Gupta, I think it's in Chaitanya Chari, Sri Bhakti Rasa Ridoyatam Ataha Sri Vasuchite. Your name is Srivas because Sri Bhakti Rasa resides in your heart. Understand? So he's called Srivas. Adi Gaura Bhaktavinda. He's the head of all the devotees who become the disseminators of Bhakti Rasa. And therefore, in his Anga means by the extension of his love for Mahaprabhu in his courtyard, he gave the highest conception, which is Nam Sankirtan. First, he gave it in Madhurjamaya. Madhurjamaya here means in exclusivity, filled with exclusivity, because everybody could not attend the Kirtan in the courtyard of Srivas. But then that Kirtan naturally becomes Odorja. Like it's described by Rupa Goswami that Radha Kund has a characteristic. Iha, what is it? Radha Kunda, Iha Gokulapate, Prem Amrita Plavana. Why is it desirable to do bhajan at Radha Kund? Because transcendentally speaking, the prem, which is directly that Radha Kund, is Prem Amrita Plavana. The nectar of that prem is overflowing its banks. What is the meaning? Radha Kund is not different from Radhika. So it talks about Yavat Asraya Vritti. The tendency of the prem to overflow the heart of Radhika and touch those who are nearby, according to the Adhikar. Now, in humility, rather than directly approaching Radha Kund, where will you do your bhajan? So you're doing bhajan at Govardhan in aspiration to approach Radha Kund. This is all written in Manasiksha. This is the internal mood of bhajan. So we should study those verses really, really closely. And our Prayojan and Prayojanacharya who wrote Manasiksha is at Radha Kund doing that bhajan that you aspire for. So he's telling you, be patient and Govardhan. Make your residence there. I remember the first time I did that, I was traveling, I was still in this at the time, and people were building like whole condos there. They're like take 5, you supposed to take a few stones and make, it's for a heart thing. People stack up 5 rocks and then bring that over the roof, and Like before, the idea is not to construct the actual residence. I mean, it's supposed to be a mood.
Bhakti Raksa Sridhar Maharaj's Matas in Kola Dweep, Navadweep, which is in Gorlina, is Govardhan.
Yes.
So he was telling me, we serve at Radha Kund, but we don't live there. We live in Govardhan with the dwellers and the Yarwas. He says, rather in the slum corner.
Yes. Not only that, but Gurudev gave up, Gurudev intended to Lila in Puri, at Chakratirtha, which is also Govardhan. Al Srila Prabhupada, in his last desires before his Samadhi, where did he want to go? Govardhan. So this is the, telling by indication, this is the aspiration. That we want to stay in Govardhan and do bhajan. Alright?
We've heard from acharyas that the pastime of, what was his name, Ramaharshan Sutta, how he was speaking from the Purans and Baladev Prabhu appeared, and he didn't offer obeisances to Baladev Prabhu, and this was an offense to Baladev Prabhu, so Baladev Prabhu killed him with a durva grass, and then he installed his son Ugra Sharava Sutta. But wasn't Baladev Prabhu, hadn't he already departed? We've heard that he was on pilgrimage at that time. At least that's what I've heard, that he was on pilgrimage.
He was on pilgrimage after the declaration of the war to take place. So he was doing pilgrimage, and then he came to this place at Namasananya. Because when they realized what was going to happen, the whole story, they went to Brahma made one wheel, he said wherever this wheel will land, the spoke of that will be a safe place during this whole time of Kali Yuga to come. So the hub of that wheel, that place was called Namasharanya. So the sages took place there. Vyasadeva, after he wrote the Puranas, he had not had Narada Samvad at that time. So he wrote all Puranas, and he gave them to different people. I mean, he gave all the Sastra, rather, different people. Jaimini, etc., etc. he gave the Puranas to Rama Harshan. Because Rama Harshan, his expertise was in the ability to recite the Purana. That's why it's called, you know what meaning Rama Harshan? Rama Harshan means when he would recite, his reciting was so beautiful, it would cause the hairs of your body to stand. So it's called Rama Harshan. He would cause the hairs of your body, how beautiful he would recite. He had a son named Ugrasrava. Ugrasrava means one who's very eager, fiercely hears. It's called Ugrasrava. So when Baladevji came there, he didn't commit a literal offense, because if you're sitting on the asana of Vyasadeva, that's a very sacred position. So at that time, technically, you should not be representing yourself, but representing Vyas. So by Dharma, he didn't have to stand. But by Rasagata Vichar, he should have stood. And because Bhagavatam is Rasamai Sastra, it means he was not the suitable person to recite it. Because he could not immediately feel the ecstasy that Sri Krishna's Dhaubhai has come here. You understand? So he was not suited to recite it. Therefore, Baladev sacrificed him. Because now, you've gotten an order from Guru. His Guru was Vyas. He had the order from Guru to recite the Sastras, the Puranas. So now, how can you break that commitment? You give up your life before you give up the order of Guru. So Baladev actually made a sacrifice of Ramaharsan. That prevented Ramaharsan from breaking the order of his Guru to recite. You understand? You understand that? Because if Ramaharsan had said, well, you know, I'm just not going to, Baladev said, I'm not going to recite. Baladev was playing the role of a Kshatriya. Ramaharshan's high class of Brahman, everything. So this was Baladev's mercy. If you are sacrificed by Baladev, very high class, the way to go. You understand? And that's why I use Dharma grass, because Dharma grass, Kusha grass are the elements of Yajna. And he sacrificed him at the permission of all of the assembled sadhus there. So that means their blessings were given. He says, do you want me to do it or not? So they said, yeah, we're giving our blessing. At the time they gave their blessing, it also simultaneously, Baladevji gave his blessings to Ugrasrava. Ugrasrava, then after that, because he was only 5 years old, he traveled and then he came across the assembly of Maharaj Parikshit and Shukdev Goswami. He took, as his guru, Shukdev Goswami, which is why we recite, these are the pranam mantras, these are the pranam mantras to Shukdev Goswami that were created by Sutta Goswami. Understand? So then when he came back, having heard from Shukdev Goswami, now he was suited to recite Srimad Bhagavatam, because Srimad Bhagavatam contains all rasa samadhi. And if you don't hear from someone who's rusty, how can you do that? Jai Gaur Pramanande Hari Hari Gaur Masi Jai Gurudev Ki Jai Shri Mahaprabhu Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Guru Ki Jai Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai
Mukunda Prabhu Ki Jai.
Are you getting on, G? You can make it?
Yeah.
Who must sing No.
Abhi, you sing Achi?
Sure.
You gonna get on, G?
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Oh Hare Ganga Radhe Yes. Please.
Do it all together or call and response?
So yeah.
Whatever you
everything.
think.
Okay.
Shut up.
Namamishvaram Sachidanandarupam Rasakundalam Gokule Brajamanam Namamishvaram Sachidanandarupam Yashodamiyo Kaladhavamanam Yashodamiyo Param Brahma Jnana Hare
You guys are gonna be here till midnight. Don't take